Welcome to Trek Quiz. It's a quiz and it's about Star Trek. This is Trek Quiz, and every week, as usual, our animation department in the background have been working like Trojans and we've spared no expense. So this week, who is it that we're going to be focusing on and what level of difficulty will it be? So this week it is going to be Star Trek Voyager. What a treat. 3 rounds of 15 questions, all about Star Trek Voyager. And what will be the level of difficulty? Will it be easy questions at ensign level? Will it be challenging questions that are going to stretch even the most avid of Voyager fans at commander level? Or will it be the fabled captain level that tests even the greatest minds from the Daystrom Institute? Well, this week, as modelled by the incredibly handsome, the incredibly charismatic Chakotay, it is commander level, of course. How does his hair stay that good through every single series? Incredible. The amount of hairspray he must have used, who knows? So round 1, as usual, is going to be ship's personnel, and it is a real treat for us to have our quiz this week coming from the muted mess hall from Voyager. Neelix has obviously closed for the night, and thank goodness. Who would want the aromas from his kitchen assaulting our nostrils? So round 1, have your pads ready. Ship's personnel. Question 1. The actor, much loved, who plays Kar, the young Kazon warrior in Initiations, is famous for his portrayal of a also much loved DS9 character. Name the actor and the character from DS9. Again, I've been incredibly generous in the first question. There are 2 points to play for. The actor who plays Kar, the young Kazon warrior in Initiations, is famous for his portrayal of a much loved DS9 character. What's the name of the actor? First and second name, please. And the character from DS9. How generous am I? 2 points from the first question available to you. Question 2. After a mind meld with Lon Suda, after his conviction for murder, what is the radical suggestion that Tuvok offers Janeway? Fantastic episode. Tuvok has a mind meld with Lon Suda. It affects him in a certain way. And what is his radical suggestion that he offers to Janeway? Question 3. Simple one, question 3. What is Tom Paris's middle name? What is Tom Paris's middle name? It's not a trick question. It's not that he doesn't have one. He absolutely does. Question 4. In the episode, one of my absolute favourites in Voyager, Worst Case Scenario, in which Tuvok has created a fictional Marquis mutiny on board Voyager, who accompanies Janeway in her quest to retake the ship. So in the fantastic episode Worst Case Scenario, in which Tuvok has created a fictional Marquis mutiny, who accompanies Janeway in her quest to retake the ship? And the final question of ship's personnel. How does one save Voyager's crew from assimilation by a Borg sphere? Now, I'm not speaking about myself in a purely grammatical sense. It is the Borg drone who is created after a transporter malfunction with the Doctor's device that allows him to be able to leave the sickbay. So how does one save Voyager's crew from assimilation by a Borg sphere? Okay, well, for those of you who have played in good spirit and haven't been searching through Google's many answers that it can offer, let's find out the answers. So round 1, ship's personnel. The answers are Aaron Eisenberg and Nog, the actor who plays Kar, the young Kazon warrior in Initiations, and of course his most famous role is that of Nog, the late actor, much loved, and we were lucky to see him on the screen in more than just the guise of Nog, although he was fantastic as Nog, and I'm sure there will be many Nog based questions when we have our DS9 quizzes in the future. So question 2, after a mind meld with Lon Suda after his conviction for murder, what is the radical suggestion that Tuvok offers Janeway? It is remarkably to execute Suda for his crimes. Tuvok obviously allowing his emotions to get the better of him. And Tom Paris's middle name is Eugene. Thomas Eugene Paris. And I believe that his middle name is testament to the great Gene Roddenberry, the founder, the great mind behind all of the Star Trek that we enjoy today. So, question 4. In the episode Worst Case Scenario, in which Tuvok has created a fictional Maquis mutiny who accompanies Janeway in her quest to retake the ship, it is, of course, not just Thomas Paris. It is Thomas Eugene Paris. There's a fantastic scene, isn't there, where Paris v Paris pointing phasers at each other. That's just a brilliant episode, isn't it? It's one of the few holodeck episodes that I really, really enjoy. What am I saying? That's sacrilege, isn't it? Every holodeck episode is absolutely amazing, especially the ones in The Next Generation when the characters are all dressed up or Data suddenly has emotions. Anyway, moving on. How does one save Voyager's crew from assimilation by the Borg sphere? It is, of course, the fact that he boards the sphere and navigates it into a nearby nebula, which crushes it, but does not actually hurt himself fatally. And the Doctor's able to potentially revive him, but in a moment of heroism, he decides that he wants to save Voyager's crew by allowing himself to die. Always a strange loophole with that one. I wasn't sure about the fact that how would the Borg know that he'd allowed himself to die? Anyway, that might be a Daystrom Institute question in the future. So how did you do? 6 points available in round 1 ship's personnel. Get your Voyager thinking caps on. We're on to round 2 and it's ship's systems. And question 1. Why does the linguist Arturis plan to trick the Voyager crew into being assimilated by the Borg? What's the reason behind the great linguist Arturis and his plan to trick the Voyager crew into being assimilated by the Borg? Question 2, bit of a Borg-centric round so far. What type of torpedo from the future does older Janeway bring back and give to Voyager to use to destroy 2 Borg cubes? What a fantastic scene that is. But what is the type of torpedo that's able to sink a cube in one? The Enterprise could have used one of them when Q just threw them across the galaxy and they met that first cube. Question 3. It is Borg central, isn't it, this, for the ship's systems? Mind you, I wrote the questions, so I've only got one person to blame. One to blame, maybe. No, I won't make any jokes about one. He was a brilliant character, and it was a shame he wasn't around for more episodes. But how many Borg alcoves are left in Cargo Bay 2 once Voyager has passed through Borg space? So how many Borg alcoves are left in Cargo Bay 2 once Voyager has passed through Borg space? So we're talking post-Kes and into the 7 of 9 era. Question 4. Which unique part of Voyager's systems develops a virus that requires the temperature to be raised significantly? Which unique part of Voyager's systems develops a virus that requires the temperature to be raised significantly? And question 5. What was the name of the Maquis ship that was thrown into the Delta Quadrant with Voyager? What was the name of the Maquis ship that Chakotay and his Maquis crew were on when the caretaker brought them to the Delta Quadrant? Okay, so far if you've got 6 out of 6, well done. Another 5 points on offer. Let's see how well you can do. Ship systems. Question 1. Why does the linguist Arturis plan to trick Voyager's crew into being assimilated by the Borg? Well, His race was assimilated by the Borg after Voyager helped them defeat species 8472. Now that doesn't sound like a Federation thing to do, would it? To go into a system that they previously haven't been in and completely change and warp the dynamics that have been in place for countless decades and centuries. Surely not. He was trying to get revenge, but unfortunately we can only conclude that he was assimilated himself at the end of that episode. Question 2, what are those torpedoes that Janeway brings back from the future to aid Voyager's return home in Endgame? Well, it is of course transphasic torpedoes. Transphasic torpedoes. They obviously are transphase, I think, and are also torpedoes. That's the level of scientific inquiry and explanation that you get in this quiz. How many Borg alcoves are there? There are 4. 4 Borg alcoves are left after Voyager passes through Borg space. And question 4. The part of Voyager's systems that develop a virus that requires the temperature to be raised significantly, it is of course the bioneural gel packs. They always made a really satisfying noise, didn't they, whenever somebody picked one out and sort of squished them. Maybe it's just me, but I'd quite enjoy watching a video of somebody just squishing a bioneural gel pack. I think that is just me. Question 5, let's move on quickly. What was the name of the marquee ship that was thrown into Delta Quadrant? Well, it is the Voyager. And surely it's got nothing to do with Eddington's absolute obsession with Les Miserables. The Voyager, as he calls Cisco, one of my favourite captains, Javert. You betrayed your uniform! That was Cisco. As a Cisco, voice. I'm not going to do Cisco again. Or maybe I will if we have a DS9 quiz in the near future. No, I won't. I think that was an insult to him and to everybody who enjoys DS9. Round 3. And this round is called What Have I Just Watched? Now, Voyager was a fantastic series. I really enjoyed it. But even Voyager, at times, had episodes and moments that just made us all scratch our heads. And to be honest, I was tempted to base this entire round on the episode Threshold, but I've strayed away from that lizard-based episode. So round 3, what have I just watched? Question 1. After a charming back and forth with Janeway, to whom does the Borg Queen direct her cryptic message, "We'll see you soon"? She names someone. She looks them in the eye. "We'll see you soon," she says. It's a creepy moment. It's a worrying moment, but I actually think it's an absolutely hilarious moment as well, particularly when that crew member responds. Imagine being directly addressed by the Borg Queen. Question 2 of What Have I Just Watched, round 3. The Doctor dreams up an impressive yet imaginary weapon, and he uses that weapon to bluff his way past the hierarchy ships that are attacking Voyager. What is that weapon called? It's a fantastic episode where the Doctor is indulging in daydreams, and one of his daydreams is an amazing weapon. It's a weapon that I believe can destroy a Borg sphere in one shot. It's a great episode in which Robert Picardo can show off his real acting chops, pushing himself close to Brent Spiner in Data's day. Question 3. It's a Fairhaven question. I'm sure there are Voyager fans who loved the Fairhaven arc. I'm not one of them. Anyway, question 3. One of the Fairhaven residents confesses to the Doctor, who at the time is dressed as a priest, that he has broken a commandment again. What number commandment has he broken? And for a bonus point, what is that commandment? It's a fantastic moment, a hilarious moment, because the Doctor sort of brushes it aside. But what is the number of the commandment, and what is that commandment that the Fairhaven resident has broken? Question 4 of round 3. Who portrays the Pendari champion fighter in the absolutely amazing, fantastic, wonderful, rewatchable, again and again, up there with the Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and 2 episode, Tsunkatsu? Who plays that champion fighter who fights 7 of 9? And question 5. Which notable gardener inexplicably appears to Chakotay in the wonderful, the amazing, the fantastic, the up there with the best of both worlds part 1 and part 2 and Sunkatsu episode The Fight, bringing his second appearance in the Delta Quadrant? So what gardener, I'll give you a clue, from the Alpha Quadrant actually appears in the Delta Quadrant twice? Who is it? And what is his name? So by the end of this quiz, you will have 17 points available to you from 15 questions. How generous am I that there's 2 questions where you can get 2 points. So have a look out for question 3. What's the number of the commandment? That's 1 point. And what is that commandment? So that might actually require a bit of knowledge of the Old Testament. How is your Moses knowledge? 3. What have I just watched? Isn't the mess hall lovely? They've always got that right, I think. 10 forward, the mess hall. I really enjoyed the promenade on DS9 as well. It just makes you want to go and visit, sit down and have a Raptagino or a root beer even. Well, I've decided to not hold you in suspense and give you all the answers in one quick go. So round 3, what have I just watched? The Borg Queen, obviously, after a conversation with Janeway, turns to Harry Kim and says, "We'll see you soon, Harry." His reaction is absolutely perfect. It's brilliant. And it is the photonic cannon that the Doctor uses to bluff getting Voyager out of a particularly sticky situation with the hierarchy, who are a race that I would have liked to have found out a little bit more about. They seemed quite an interesting group, but the photonic cannon is that imaginary weapon that he came up with. Again, a fantastic turn by Robert Picardo there. Comedic, yet at the same time carrying a gravitas that only Morn can match. So, question 3. One of the Fairhaven residents confesses to the Doctor that they've broken a commandment again. It is, of course, the 5th commandment, which, strangely enough, is "Thou shalt not kill." So the Fairhaven resident has effectively confessed to being a serial killer. Doctor, obviously, has to stay close to the Alpha plotline that's going on in that episode and completely disregards that crazy confession. And that amazing, wonderful, fantastic episode, Sunkatsu, which I'm sure you've all watched again and again and again. It is, of course, The Rock. You can also get a point for saying Dwayne Johnson. There are not 2 points available, just the 1, but The Rock or Dwayne Johnson are both acceptable answers. He even does the eyebrow thing, which was disappointing. Anyway, moving on. The inexplicable second appearance of the gardener from Starfleet Academy is, of course, Boothby, who appears again. And of course, those of you, and I know you're probably screaming at the screen right now, he was also the leader of the species 8472 simulation of Earth. It was Boothby as well. So although Boothby himself has not been in the Delta Quadrant, a hallucination and a strange species 8472 human simulation of Boothby have appeared in the Delta Quadrant. That actor obviously charged quite a cheap daily rate, didn't he? How did you do? Let me know in your comments, and of course please do subscribe to Trek Quiz. And there's just enough time now for me to present to you this week's Daystrom Institute question of the week, and it's a real doozy. Please put the answers in the comments or do send us a message. The question of the week from the Daystrom Institute is: would a Galaxy class ship have fared better or worse than Voyager in the Delta Quadrant if our friend the Caretaker had whipped the Enterprise or the Odyssey or another one of the Galaxy class ships into the Delta Quadrant? Would it have fared better or worse than Voyager? How would the Dolphins have done in the inexplicable yet amazing cetacean ops of a Galaxy class starship? What would they have fed them? Oh, they've got replicators, obviously. So let me know, and I hope you've enjoyed the quiz, and as always, tune in next week and find out what series and at what level of difficulty we'll be focusing on in Trek Quiz.